Everyone's talking about potential, but for the Las Vegas Raiders, 2025 could be the turning point. Why? Because this offense isn't just changing, it's evolving. And one powerful, often overlooked reason might finally unlock a breakout year in Vegas. The buzz around the Raiders' offense isn't empty talk. It's grounded in hard facts and real progress. According to The Athletic, Las Vegas is being listed among the top offenses most likely to break out this season. And not just casually, they may have made more progress than any other team in the league this offseason. While the article grouped the Raiders with teams like the Bears, Jaguars, Cowboys, and Falcons, what sets the silver and black apart is how far they've come in just 1 year. For context, they were ranked near the bottom of the league, 27th in points per drive, and 31st in explosive plays. That's a painful stat line for any franchise. But change is here. Led by newly hired head coach Pete Carroll, a move that turned heads across the NFL, and paired with a reimagined offensive strategy under Chip Kelly, the Raiders are entering unfamiliar but promising territory. Kelly's modern playbook now emphasizes a balanced, deceptive run game rather than speed gimmicks, something that aligns perfectly with this team's emerging identity. And then there's Geno Smith, a quarterback many still underestimate. In Seattle, he faced more lightning-fast pressures than anyone else in the league. Now in Vegas, if young linemen like Jackson Powers-Johnson and DJ Glaze hold the pocket even moderately well, Geno has the tools, both mentally and physically, to light it up. Throw in Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer, a tight end duo that could redefine how defenses line up, and you've got a recipe that forces opposing coordinators to play on their heels. With Jacoby Myers being one of the league's top wide receiver, 2 options, and Ashton Jeanty ready to explode as a rookie running back, this offense suddenly has layers. The Raiders are no longer rebuilding, they're reloading. And if things fall into place, 2025 could be the year they force the league to take them seriously again. Standing at 6'5" with blazing 4.3 speed, rookie wideout Dante Thornton has been turning heads at OTAs. He's just one of many playmakers the Raiders are counting on, but none of that talent will matter if the offensive line doesn't show up. That's the real storyline heading into this season. It's been echoed by analysts like Ted Nguyen and others who've watched this team closely. The Raiders will go as far as their offensive line takes them. Second-year center Jackson Powers-Johnson and tackle DJ Glaze are at the heart of this rebuild up front. Alongside them, the team has added veterans like Alex Kappa, hoping to reignite his career after a tough stint in Cincinnati. Dylan Parham is battling for a spot, while Jordan Meredith impressed in limited snaps last year. And of course, there's the reliable Colton Miller, who had a slow start in 2024 due to off-season surgery, but has otherwise been a steady anchor. The truth is simple. This offensive line will either make this offense work or completely stall it out. Quarterback Geno Smith has the arm, the vision, and the accuracy to take this team deep, literally. In fact, Pro Football Focus ranked him as the most accurate deep ball passer in the league. And with speed threats like Dante Thornton, Trey Tucker, and even Jack Beck, the Raiders have the tools to stretch the field. But it all starts up front. Rookie running back Ashton Jeanty brings toughness and explosive running. He proved at Boise State he doesn't go down easy. But this isn't college anymore. In the NFL, even the best backs need space to operate. He can't be expected to fight off defenders in the backfield every play like Josh Jacobs often had to. This offensive line must give him a real chance to succeed. The weapons are there. The quarterback is ready. But the question remains. Can the Raiders' offensive line hold the line when it matters most? Imagine this. It's late July, the sun's blazing, and the Raiders step onto the field for training camp. Fans are buzzing. Everyone's saying this offense could be special, explosive even. But there's one giant question that could decide everything. Can the offensive line hold up? See, you can have the fastest receivers, a laser-sharp quarterback, and even a rookie tight end like Brock Bowers catching fire. But none of that matters if the guys up front, the ones doing the dirty work, can't create space or protect. You can't be explosive if you're being blown up at the line of scrimmage. Training camp is where this all begins. By the end of July, the Raiders need to find their 5, their starting offensive line, not just the best players, but the right combination. Guys who move like one, think like one, trust each other like they've been playing backyard football together since kids. But here's the tricky part. Offensive linemen don't get much live-action practice. Pads are limited, hitting is light, and no one wants their stars getting hurt. That means less physicality, fewer reps that feel like real football. So, how do you build chemistry under those conditions? Well, it's about more than just drills. It's about connection. These 5 linemen need to understand each other's every move, every twitch, every instinct. That's the only way this offense takes off. Because, let's be honest, if they can't protect, if they can't create running lanes, if they can't hold their ground, it's over before it even begins. This year, the offensive line isn't just part of the story. They are the story. If they gel, the Raiders' offense could be dangerous, like top 10 in the league dangerous. But if they stumble, we'll be sitting here months from now, asking what went wrong, and the answer will be simple. The trenches. Now, let's talk about the Raiders' make-or-break players for 2025. This next conversation started with a discussion over at Pro Football Focus, and now it's gaining serious traction among Raider Nation. Which players are under the most pressure to deliver in 2025? In just a moment, we'll dive into the names that analysts and fans alike believe are at a crossroads, those who must either step up or risk fading out of the long-term picture in Las Vegas. We've already established how the offensive line will make or break the team's success, but it doesn't stop there. Key roles all across the field, from quarterback to pass catchers to defenders, are stacked with talent that needs to prove it belongs at the highest level. The conversation originally began with Trevor Sikkema and Dalton Wasserman from Pro Football Focus, who pinpointed several Raiders facing a pivotal season. And now, it's your turn. We're going to spotlight the players under the microscope and hear what you have to say. Who must shine for the Raiders to finally flip the script in 2025? Let's break it down. Let's talk about the defenders under the microscope, players who are now out of excuses and out of time. One of those names is Eric Stokes. After putting up a modest 62.4 coverage grade over 398 snaps last season, Stokes is betting on himself with a 1-year prove-it deal in Las Vegas. If it doesn't work here, his future may be filled with short-term contracts and backup roles. He's not alone. Pass rusher Malcolm Kuncey is also on a 1-year deal, making this a true make-or-break season for him. Then there's Tyree Wilson, whose name keeps coming up in fan conversations, and for good reason. Drafted 7th overall, Wilson entered the league with sky-high expectations. But after injuries slowed his rookie campaign, his second year didn't show the kind of jump the Raiders were hoping for. He looked slow off the line, struggled to create pressure, and failed to stand out alongside Max Crosby. For a top 10 pick, that's a problem. The hope is that with Christian Wilkins and Crosby commanding attention, Wilson can finally win those one-on-one matchups and make the leap. The talent is there, the size is there, but now it's about execution and urgency. Other names to watch include Jacorian Bennett, Dylan Parham, and even second-year edge depth like Jack Beck. All of them need to prove they belong as part of the Raiders' long-term core. Even fans are weighing in on who they think has to step up. Take Hillboy Raider from Richmond, California. He called in to voice his frustration with Tyree Wilson's lack of impact so far. Drafted high, Wilson hasn't yet shown he can be that dominant, reliable partner to Crosby. If he doesn't start producing in 2025, the Raiders may have to reconsider their long-term plans on the edge. This season isn't just about stats, it's about identity. The Raiders need players who don't just fill a position, but define it. Caller Hillboy Raider hit it right on the mark. Tyree Wilson must finally live up to his draft status. As a top 10 pick, being just there isn't enough anymore. The Raiders didn't invest a premium pick for average reps. They invested in dominance, in someone who could eventually line up opposite Max Crosby and cause chaos. That hasn't happened yet. And while Malcolm Kuncey deserves a mention, especially after not getting to showcase much last season due to injury, Hillboy's right. Wilson has more to prove. If the added attention from Crosby and Wilkins can open lanes for him, and he still can't deliver, that's a serious red flag. Meanwhile, fans from across the nation are weighing in. Colin from North Carolina sent in a text highlighting 2 offensive players who also need to step up, Michael Mayer and Trey Tucker. Both are heading into their 3rd season, and 3rd year is often the one that defines your NFL future. Mayer's rookie season never took off under Josh McDaniels, and he missed time last year for personal reasons. But at recent minicamps, he's looked faster, sharper, and more involved in the offense. That's a good sign. Then there's Trey Tucker, a burner with elite speed but inconsistent results. He underwent LASIK surgery in the offseason and now has a clean slate in a new system. The hope is that Chip Kelly can get creative with Tucker, get him quick touches, bubble screens, and open space to let that speed do the damage. He doesn't always have to be the deep threat. Let Dante Thornton stretch the field, let Tucker break it, and we're not done yet. Chef Rader called in with his thoughts, and he's looking at Zamir White. With Ashton Jeanty now in the mix, Zamir's future in Vegas is far from guaranteed. If he doesn't show clear improvement, fast, he could be fighting just to make the final roster. In a Chip Kelly offense, explosiveness and versatility matter. And so far, White hasn't consistently delivered either. Chef also echoed concerns about Michael Mayer, recognizing that he's now a product of a previous regime. That's never a comfortable spot in the NFL. You have to prove yourself all over again, especially with a new coaching staff evaluating every snap without the loyalty of having drafted you. For these players, 2025 isn't just a season, it's a final audition. Chef Rader wrapped up his thoughts with two names he believes are at a crossroads: Zamir White and Big Mike, Michael Mayer. And honestly, both are on point. Starting with Zamir White, he was supposed to be the guy last year. Josh Jacobs was out of the picture, and the opportunity was wide open. But between a shaky offensive line, scheme issues, and injuries, it just never clicked. Raider Nation was rooting for him, but the results never came. Now in the final year of his deal, White isn't just fighting for carries. He's fighting for a roster spot. He'll need a strong camp just to survive cutdown day. This isn't a depth chart built on hope anymore. With Ashton Jeanty coming in hot and Chip Kelly demanding explosiveness, there's zero room for inconsistency. Then there's Michael Mayer. With Brock Bowers joining the team, arguably the most hyped tight end in the league, and veteran Ian Thomas in the mix, the pressure is on. The Raiders are clearly stacking the tight end room with talent, and Mayer's role isn't guaranteed. This will be Mayer's third season, but his first in a fully retooled offense. His rookie year, a mess under Josh McDaniels. Last season, personal setbacks kept him off the field. But now he's back, healthy, and being used more often in Kelly's system during OTAs. The question is, will he rise to the occasion or get overshadowed? Chef's right, this isn't just a big year, it's a defining one. Both Mayer and White came in with high hopes under the old regime. Now they'll need to prove they can still matter under this new one. And we're not done yet. Coming up next, a new voice from Fresno steps in with a surprising take on who he believes is facing the most pressure heading into 2025. Patrick from Fresno brought up a name that caught a lot of people off guard: Jakobi Meyers. Yes, the same Jakobi Meyers who's been one of the Raiders' most dependable weapons. But here's the twist. His situation isn't as secure as it seems. Patrick points out something important. Meyers is heading into a contract year, and while he's been a steady presence on the field, the Raiders now have young, explosive receivers like Jack Beck and Dante Thornton flashing during minicamp. If they continue to rise, it could complicate things for Meyers long term. The current regime, Pete Carroll and GM Tom Telesco, didn't bring Meyers in. That matters. They didn't draft him, and they didn't sign him. So while fans may see him as a core piece, the front office might view him as replaceable. There's been talk of a contract extension, and Meyers has expressed interest in staying. But until ink meets paper, nothing's guaranteed. So even for a reliable veteran like him, 2025 could quietly be a turning point. Then came Grim Raider from Fredericksburg, Virginia, who circled the conversation back to one of the most talked about names of the offseason, Tyree Wilson. Grim's message was short and honest. He still has hope for Wilson, but even he's unsure if it'll be enough. And that's the theme we keep returning to: potential versus production. Whether it's Tyree Wilson, Jakobi Meyers, or anyone else we've discussed, this season is going to define who stays and who goes in Las Vegas. Grim Raider didn't just bring up Tyree Wilson again, he did something most fans haven't dared to yet. He questioned Geno Smith. And honestly, it's a valid concern. While there's optimism around Geno, his leadership, his experience, and his arm. This is still a new system, a new team, and a city with high expectations. The coaching staff believes he's the calming veteran presence the Raiders have lacked since Derek Carr. But if he struggles, even behind a solid O-line, then what? Let's not forget, his contract gives the Raiders an exit after just one season. It's structured to allow flexibility. So, if things go south, if Geno can't make the offense go despite having weapons like Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, Ashton Jeanty, and more, then this team could find itself right back at square one, looking for its next franchise QB again. And that's a reality no one in Raider Nation wants to face. To close out the conversation, we heard from Ridgeline Raider out in Massachusetts, who circled back to Trey Tucker. And he's not wrong. Tucker is absolutely on the hot seat. The flashes have been there: speed, agility, and the occasional big play. But flashes don't earn you a roster spot. Consistency does. With Dante Thornton and Jack Beck now in the mix, the Raiders are signaling that they want more from their wide receiver core, and Tucker is no longer untouchable. This time, he can't point to poor coaching or shaky quarterback play. With Chip Kelly designing plays and Geno Smith delivering the ball, the system is in place. Now, it's up to Tucker to rise, or risk being left behind. A message came in from Ridgeline Raider, who believes Trey Tucker should slot in as the Raiders' number 1, 2 or 3 receiver this year, unless a free agent arrives to shake things up. But when you look at the depth chart closely, things aren't that clear. Let's break it down. Jacoby Myers is the reliable veteran. Dante Thornton has wowed during OTAs. Jack Beck is the rookie turning heads. And while Trey Tucker has the speed, we haven't seen the consistency. With Brock Bowers expected to function like a wide receiver, one from the tight end spot, that pushes every wide receiver one spot down. So if Beck continues to shine in training camp, Tucker could fall to wide receiver 4, maybe even wide receiver 5 if another surprise name emerges. He's not just fighting for playing time, he's fighting to prove he belongs in this new offense under Chip Kelly. The message is simple: speed isn't enough anymore. Production matters. That wrapped up a really solid string of calls and texts from fans across the nation. But before moving on, we got one last message, this one from across the pond. From 2000 to 2020, the Raiders ranked 31st out of 32 teams in draft success. And sadly, that tracks. Decades of short-term thinking, limited scouting infrastructure, and outdated strategies left the team struggling to develop homegrown stars. From Jamarcus Russell to Damon Arnett, the list of failed first-rounders is long. Yes, there were flashes of brilliance: Max Crosby, Josh Jacobs, and hopefully now Brock Bowers. But the Raiders have leaned far too often on reclamation projects instead of drafting and building a core. One key moment that still sparks debate: passing on Jalen Carter. Insiders say the team liked him, but internal politics and off-field concerns reportedly blocked the pick. Instead, they turned to Tyree Wilson, banking on elite traits and long-term upside. So far, it hasn't clicked. 2025 will be a defining year for Wilson, and maybe for the Raiders' entire draft reputation under this new regime. The team invested heavily up front during the draft, especially by picking up key depth in the 3rd round. And despite his struggles last season, DJ Glaze is only 22 years old. With better coaching and time to develop, he could become a reliable presence at right tackle. Remember, he was thrown into a tough situation last year, under weak offensive leadership. Building competition along the offensive front has been a priority, and it's paying off. The depth and youth along this line could be a quiet strength heading into training camp. If Glaze and others step up, it won't just help the quarterback, it'll unlock this entire offense. With questions still looming at quarterback, offensive line growth could be the safety net the Raiders desperately need. Coming up next, we break down the one QB the Raiders didn't draft, but maybe should have. Let's address something that's stirred up debate: Justin Herbert's place in the quarterback hierarchy. Statistically, Herbert has been consistent, ranking top 10 in passing yards and maintaining low interception rates. At 6 feet 6 inches, with a big arm and mobility, he's a rare physical talent. But here's the issue: talent hasn't translated to winning. Herbert hasn't won a playoff game. In fact, his most notable postseason moment was giving up a 27-point lead. And yes, coaching deserves some blame, but great quarterbacks find ways to overcome bad moments. Raiders fans have every right to be skeptical. It's not about hating the Chargers or denying Herbert's skill. It's about results. Until he proves he can elevate a team when it matters, the questions remain fair. A new era is forming in Las Vegas, but not everyone's convinced the AFC West quarterbacks are worth the hype. Let's clear the air on a few young quarterbacks in the spotlight. Bo Nix landed in a system tailored by Sean Payton, and while he has upside, he's still got a long road ahead. Drake May went third overall to New England, but he undeniably regressed in his final college season, something that can't be ignored. J.J. McCarthy, meanwhile, entered the draft with a championship resume but limited production. His rookie year didn't offer much clarity either, especially with injury setbacks. And then there's Justin Herbert. Yes, he's talented, but the numbers don't hide the bigger picture. No playoff wins and 2 postseason collapses. Until he delivers when it matters, there's reason for pause. If we're talking franchise quarterbacks, potential isn't enough. Results matter. That's the bottom line. Now let's flip the script, because one offseason addition is quietly becoming the biggest steal of free agency. We break that down next. The Raiders didn't throw money around this offseason. They built smart. And now the pressure is on to prove that strategy can win. Every move this offseason was calculated. The front office didn't chase headlines. They chased value. Geno Smith was signed early, allowing the team to avoid desperation in the draft. That one move gave them flexibility, and they used it wisely. Instead of spending big, they filled key roles at a fraction of the cost. Solid players like Marcus Epps, Nate Hobbs, and Trayvon Moehrig are back. But no one broke the bank. It's a roster built on depth, not just stars. Geno's one word: accurate. If this offense gets rolling, he's capable of delivering. The word for the Raiders: rising. After years of instability, the foundation is finally forming. But make no mistake, this team is still starving for success, and the only thing left to do now is go out and earn it. Coming up, we're breaking down what to expect from Brock Bowers, Eric Allen, and more as the Raiders' Best of the Best series kicks off. Let's get into it.